Everybody, Dave Cotter here, and welcome to Making the Shift Live here Monday night. It is every single week here on Facebook, on the Facebook Live. So thanks for coming. And today what we're going to be talking about is that the greatest challenge is often easier to conquer than you think. Okay, now this is something that comes up all the time. You know, a lot of people are looking for these massive shifts in their life. We're looking to be happier, we're looking to be more prosperous, we're looking to experience all the great things from life that we want to experience. But the thing is, in order to experience more, we need to become more. We need to be more as people. We need to be able to contribute more. We need to be able to be happier. We need to be able to give. We need to be able to learn. In order to do this, what we really need is self-improvement. It all comes down to self-improvement and the improvement of yourself. And this is what the personal development game is all about. You know, most people, they want a better life, but aren't actually willing to put the work in that's required in order to get there. You know, people want the express elevator up to the top. They want to be able to have the life of their dreams, but they don't really want to put the work in. You know, does this sound something that's common to you? You've seen this around, or is it even something yourself that you've believed and you've thought to yourself, you know, I'd really love to have a better life. I'd love to be able to earn more. I'd love to be able to experience more. I'd love to have a better family life, better relationships, you know, all the good stuff that having a full and fully experiential life can bring. But does the thought of actually getting in and doing the hard work and putting a few years of work into something, does that scare you? You know, do you look and you think, well, could I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym? Do you look and think, I can't really be bothered? You know, the thought of putting work in and building a business and going and learning and spending time, you know, going to trainings or instead of going and doing your sports or socialising, that you'd rather just do the things that you've always done. Does that sound like the way that you live your dream or live your life currently? And if it is, you know, it's really important to start to ask yourself whether you fall into that category of the person who really wants success, or that person who wants the express elevator to the top and would love to have that, but isn't really willing to put the work in that's required. You know, to have more from life, really important, to have more from life, we've got to grow. You know, and growth requires change. But the thing is, change can be really, really painful. Anything in life where you have to start making change, that can be painful, it can be tough, it can be very daunting, it can take a lot of work. You know, it requires sacrifice. You're going to experience loss. You know, you're going to experience failure. Quite commonly, we experience a lot of disappointment. We incur costs. You know, you've got to give a lot of time, you've got to give a lot of energy. You know, growth requires a lot of energy. But on the other side of it is everything that you want for your dreams. You know, and the bigger change that you want in your life, the bigger your goals, the bigger your hopes, the bigger your dreams are, the more change that's got to be required. You know, and to be realistic about what we want to achieve from life, we've got to be realistic about the work that is required to do that. Now, the good thing is we don't have to make all of this change at once. You know, if you've got big goals, that could be a 5, 10, 20-year plan for you to get there. And all of the change doesn't happen at once. I say this all the time. How do you eat an elephant? You know, one bite at a time. So these changes can be small. The change can be subtle. But it does require work. It does require action over time. And the question is, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to make the change? Are you willing to put the years of work in that it takes in order to live your dreams? Now guys, so far if you're coming on, please do comment, please do say hello, let me know that you're on here. It's really great to know who's on here. If you know someone should jump on this, tag them in. Maybe if you watch this regularly, hit your screen, hit the share button, help me to get this out there, really appreciate that. But definitely do just say hello as you're jumping on. If you're coming on the replay, just type replay, let me know that you're on here. So hey Helen, hey Laura, hey Keisha. Guys, you know, talking about the commitment that's required, really important. There's so many situations in life where we've got these opportunities to start to make that improvement. You know, and many people are anxious to improve their circumstances. Yeah, but the thought of actually making those improvements is really difficult. You know, the key thing to all of the personal development world is that self-improvement it's a journey, it's not a destination. And what we've got to do along this journey is enjoy what it is that success is about. You know, nobody starts at where you are today, at point A, and just fast forwards to point B, where you've either got, you know, a load of money, or you've got the body that you want, or you've got the relationships that you want, you've got your kids acting in the way that you want them to. Nobody gets there like bang, bang, straight to, from one point to the next, from where you are now that you're not satisfied, straight across to where your life would be of your dreams. That doesn't happen. You know, in between that, it is a lot of hard work. Now, the key to this is to enjoy that process. And that's why it's so important to not try and, you know, take over the world all in one hit, and to be willing for it to take time. You know, because these things don't happen overnight. You know, and if you're going to move from where you are now, if it's a monetary goal and you really want to get to a point of success monetarily, you're not going to do that by doing things that you don't enjoy. You know, if you're a spiritual person, you maybe believe a lot in vibration. If you're not really a spiritual person, logically you can look and go, it's very difficult to be successful in things that you don't enjoy. You know, so if you hate your job, it's not very likely that you're ever going to be super successful in it. Why? Because you're not going to want to put the energy in that it would take in order to be successful in that job. One of the reasons why I wanted to get out of my full-time job when I was in it is because I didn't want to spend all of my time learning about IT. You know, what I loved is personal development. That's why we do these calls. I absolutely love personal development. The thought of going out and reading books and reading some self-improvement stuff and some mindset stuff and books about marketing or success, I absolutely love it. And the opportunity to do that and then condense what I've learned and put them onto these videos is an absolute dream. And that's why, you know, we've made a success of doing that and have built the company that we have. So for yourself, you know, the key to asking, are you going to be successful, is to say, how can you build your life around things that you enjoy or something that you take satisfaction from that would allow you to build forward. You know, because there's no point trying to do things that you don't like, because simply you just won't do them and you'll avoid them. You know, within our business, I absolutely love doing this stuff. I love numbers. I love getting in and analysing stuff. That's what I'm about. Martin absolutely hates it. You know, if there's anything numbers-wise, he'll avoid. But like sit down and spend time doing videos or making images, and Martin's all about that. Me, I don't have the time and patience to sit and do that stuff. So you've really got to look and say, what can I do that I absolutely would love to spend time focusing on and growing myself in this area, so that even if it takes 1, 3, 5, 10 years, you're going to enjoy that whole process. You know, because life isn't just about the money. It's not just about having great health. It's not just about, you know, anything else that you might dream of, the big house, the car, any of that kind of stuff. You know, all of that stuff is stuff. You know, and they're tangible things. It's representation of success. If you have a big house, you know, that's a representation that you've been quite successful with money. But if along the journey you've not spent any time with your family, you've not spent time with your kids, you know, you've missed all your friends, you've not looked after your health, what's the point of having the big house and the big car and being unhappy? Because I can tell you, there's, you know, when they do a survey, and these surveys have been done of happiness versus money, the point at which people are the happiest is around the $100,000 mark. So at about $100,000, there and thereabouts, that's when people are their happiest. And it actually declines from the point after earning about $100,000 that your happiness actually starts to decline. The reason for this is that people then get dragged into a whole new level of keeping up with the Joneses. You know, that people start to feel like they need a better car because they're earning a certain income. They're probably hanging about with people in another income bracket. You know, and you start saying, oh, I need the better house, I need the better car, I need the better watch. To keep up with the Joneses is something that's really common and pretty natural for us as humans. So, it was actually up until the point where you're like a 10, 20 millionaire before that actually balances out again. And the reason why those guys feel most happy is because they give. So where the happiness actually comes in for them is that they give a lot back. So I say this to say that this is why the journey is so important, because life isn't a destination. And quite commonly, a lot of people's dreams, you may never get there. You may dream of owning a Ferrari, you may dream of having a big house, but you may never get there. But along the way, if you choose something to help you try and create more wealth, if you choose something to help you to be more happy, along the way, if you enjoy that, you're going to be happy. And the hope being that by working hard in something that you enjoy, that all of the success will come. But the work is the big part. And there's a great quote that success belongs to those who continually learn more and develop themselves. So ask this question to everyone on at the moment, and just let me know at the moment, are you learning? Pop a comment in there, I'm learning. Are you learning at the moment? Are you developing yourself? Are you reading? Are you reading a book? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you listening to books? Are you watching personal development videos on YouTube? Are you watching things that are helping you grow within your industry? Commonly a lot of people don't continue to learn. We finish school, you've got your job, and that's it. No continual self-study. And whether that be professional within your job or personal, it's so important to continue to learn every single day. Reason being because that broadens the mind. Whatever you read, it affects the way that you think. It affects what you speak. This is why I don't watch the news. This is why I don't read the newspapers. Why? Because what those guys are doing is they've got political agendas and they're programming us to think what they want us to think. And that's why some newspapers are like a Labour, they're like right wing, and some newspapers are like liberal or conservative. And they're all giving you the stories that push their own agenda. Same with the news organisations. About the only news organisation that's probably okay is the BBC in the UK, because they have to be neutral. But every other news organisation is making you think differently. So you look and go, what are you learning? What are you reading that will expand your mind? Are you reading books about relationships and about personal development and about the way in which you manage your conversations and the way in which you handle your relationships? Are you reading that stuff in order to improve your relationship, or are you just expecting that your partner will operate different to make you happy? Or are you just hoping that will happen? So important to continue to learn. Because true wealth or abundance in life, this comes when we stop thinking so much about the money and start thinking about what's going to help us grow. It's when we stop thinking so much about what we can get from relationships and think more about how we can give. How we can become more, how can we be more valuable, how we can grow, how we can help other people. For us to have good relationships, we need to put into those relationships. We see those relationships like a bank. If you go into the bank and you're always making withdrawals and not putting anything in, your bank balance isn't going to look very healthy. The same with relationships. We've all got that friend that all they do is come and they come to us with their problems and they come to us for help. And they're not putting in. And what do you do after a while? You start to kind of resent that person a little bit. You start to not pick up the phone. You start not to want to go out with them. They're the kind of person who cancels on you, and you don't want to go out with that person or make arrangements with them because you're going to let you down. So true happiness in life and true success in life comes from when we start to grow ourselves more so we can be more. The money that we get paid in our jobs comes from the value that we can offer to the marketplace. It's how much value are you offering to the marketplace? Are you creating more value? Are you being more within your job? And if not, how could you be? Really important to ask, within our jobs, what could I do to be of more value? Not can I have a pay rise? How can I be of more value to you? Could I learn a particular skill? Could I do a bit more? We don't want to necessarily be working more. We want to be paid more for the time that we work. So, how can I be worth more to you? Really important to ask those questions. Oh, hang on. My plumbing laptop's about to die here. This is twice in 2 days. I forgot to plug it in before I've come on live. That'll teach me. It's really important that, guys, to start to look at that, to be more. And the great thing is that as you change, it makes you want to change more. As you change, as you grow, it gives you that belief and it gives you that passion to actually want to grow more. The more that you improve yourself, the more that you'll actually want to read, the more you want to study, the more that you see the successes of your actions, the more that will create the desire to have more success. Change breeds change and success breeds success. And I say all the time, one good habit leads to another. You make one good food choice and it makes it easier to make the next food choice. You don't eat so much sugar, you're not necessarily then going to want to drink quite as much. You may not want to eat quite as much. You may decide to go for the healthier option versus the worse option. Makes you start to want to move a little bit more, drink a bit more water, get in the gym. One good habit does lead to another. One good decision leads to another. Every little bit of information that you learn about a subject makes you want to learn more. It expands your horizon. This is there's such an important part of reading, of learning, of watching things that will improve your education and knowledge in an area. And to improve and achieve at a greater level, this is something that's really important. What we've got to do is we've got to lift our vibration. We truly have to operate at a different level. And you can tell from the people that you know who are successful in life, the people that you see on TV who are successful, the pop stars that you see who are successful, the people around you that you see, that they literally are vibrating at a different energy. Their energy is high, they're attractive, you want to listen to what they say. A lot of people speak with a little bit more wisdom and knowledge. They're putting out good energy. And in order to operate at a higher level, to achieve more, have better relationships, we need to lift our vibration. That speaks a lot in the spiritual world. But again, for those people that are quite logical, you look and go, if you're putting out good energy, good things are going to come back to you. Because you wouldn't want to go to somebody with a great opportunity that's like moping around. How are you today? Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. I literally get on the phone to some people. Hey, how you going? Yeah, I'm okay. And you get on the phone, and the minute you get on the phone, you're like, oh man, this is going to be a painful conversation. So what energy you're putting out there? Hey, Ellie, Haley. What energy are you putting out there to the universe? Everything that you put out is what comes back. And in any conversation, any exchange, like here now on this webinar, like I'm giving as much energy as possible to everybody, hoping to help raise everybody's energy, to put some good intention in. So in every conversation, how can you put good intentions to it? When people say to me when I speak to them on the phone or whatever, how are you going today? I always say, I'm awesome. Yeah, I'm awesome, thanks. People go, oh wow, that's brilliant. Like literally, they come back and you hear them say, that's brilliant. Like that's really nice to hear, because people say, like especially in the UK, how are you? Oh, not bad. I said, I'm not bad. Why not just be good? If you say that you're good and you say that you've got energy and you just say and act as if you are of high energy and you're happy, the likelihood is you're going to feel that way. It's like a positive way of fake it till you make it, Have good energy and act in good energy and everything else will lift. Think like you've got a good motivation towards learning and you will. Feel like you've got a good commitment and desire to be in the gym and you'll go. We say all the time within our business, this is what I am now. This is what I am now. And making that decision to be a certain person will allow your dreams to come towards you. It'll allow you to step into your power, to be the person that you need to be. You know, because success, it comes from having a totally different mindset. You know, people who are successful, they do defy conformity. They do things differently. You know, when I played for England, I had to do things differently. I had to train every night of the week. I had to take my weekends and I had to train all weekend, you know, and that was different. You know, people didn't want to put that time in, but we did. You know, to have a successful business, I've given up a few years of my life, literally, to follow my dreams because I didn't want to have a boss. I wanted to work to help people. I wanted to live a life where I can be at home with my children that I didn't have. But I now have my daughter and I'm here. And the fact I get to see her and kiss her every day and just see her for those 10 minutes here and there and spend time with her in the day is amazing. And people generally don't get that. Has there been sacrifice? Yes, there have. But I've been willing to do what most won't. You know, you've got to be willing to do the things that others aren't willing to in order to achieve the things that most people don't believe are possible. And they are possible, because if anybody is doing it, and if anyone's got the life that you want, if anyone's got the money you want, if anyone's got the body you want, you can have it too, because everything that we see around us was created by somebody who was just flesh and bone, just like you. Yes, there's a few people out there that are an exception, that are ultra physically amazing or ultra bright, but for the majority of people, we're all in the same bracket. Some people just apply themselves more. You know, so that belief that you can, that's so important. You know, and there's a great quote: you cannot create a new life without creating a new you. And the great thing is that any given moment, we have the ability to say, right now, in this instant, this is who I am now. From this point forward, I'm the person who works hard. I'm the person who gets up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym before work. I'm the person who doesn't have a beer every night. I'm the person who eats off a smaller plate so that I reduce my calories. I'm the person who, when I'm sitting watching TV at night, I do some self-study, or I do whatever. You know, I'm the person who doesn't turn the TV on. Instead, I work, I read a book, whatever it is that you do. At any given point, you've got the choice to create a totally new you. It all comes down to changing habits, a little bit of self-control. And so, guys, if this is resonating with you on the webinar at the moment, say hello. You know, give me a thumbs up, tag anyone in this you think needs to be on it. Maybe hit the screen, hit the share button, you know, help us get out this. Let me know you're here, guys. Do say hello if you're watching, because I don't know if you're on here unless you do. So, hey, Keisha, hey, Tyler, hey, Nick, good to see you guys. You know, so there's a great quote from Einstein, okay, and he says, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we had when we created them. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we had when we created them. And the problem, as such, is your current life. You cannot create a new life by thinking the way that you currently do. You know, and that thinking could be, you know, changing the way that you think. And I know that sounds stupid, but again, in the same way as fake it till you make it in various roles, you can choose to act in a certain way and do it consistently so much that eventually it just becomes a habit and becomes part of you. You know, so you can change your thoughts, you can change the lack mentality to an abundant mentality. You can do that literally just by acting a little bit more generously, acting a little less selfishly. You know, that may be hard at first, but you can do it. You know, switching that desire for short-term gratification. You know, and it's hard with the current day of the way that we live our lives, that everything's now, apps, you know, slidey stuff on your phone, everything that gives you all those dopamine hits. So hard, but to start to look and go, I'm a person who believes in long-term goals and delayed gratification. Because there's no express elevator to the top. It doesn't exist. If it did, everyone would have it. The reason why so few people succeed in life, the reason why so few people are truly happy, is because they're not willing to commit. And that comes down to having long-term goals and a willingness to commit. You know, choose that win-lose mentality, where people think, oh, everyone's against me. If the rich people, they always win. The government, they're always after us. Whatever it be. That mentality of win-lose, to just being, to see opportunity, to have a win-win mentality, to go, well, some people are going to win at life. That's absolutely fantastic. But how can I learn from what they do? How can I work within this system? How can I find something to win? Because the only person you're against is yourself, because other people, they're doing what they do and they don't care about you. Focus on yourself and how can you win and how can you help others to do the same. Find opportunities in life. Stop just trying to survive, try to thrive. To spend your life cooped up just trying to survive versus going out there and working hard to thrive, to make more of life. Too many people spend time competing, comparing, looking at other people on social media and hating on them because they've got a good life, looking at them and wishing you had what you have or having what they have, versus getting out there and just living your life in business. If you're in business, getting out and collaborating with people and creating more, versus hating on what other people do and trying to compete with them in a one-up game. Get out, collaborate, work with other people. Yeah, Lee's just said there, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. I love that. There's that great meme by Phelps that I posted the other day of Phelps in the Olympics, like charging forward about to win, and the guy who's like in second place just behind him, like looking at Phelps. He might have just been taking a breath, but it's like it's a great moment in time. But it's absolutely true. People who are winning at life are just focused on winning and enjoying life, and everybody else, they stand and hate. If you have jealousy and hatred towards people, if you don't like people for succeeding, something to really think about. We should celebrate winners. Look at what they're doing to win and try and see how you can incorporate some of that into your life. Focus less on getting, focus less on me, focus more on giving more, helping other people. When you help the many, the universe will return back to you. Trying to make a difference. Stop trying to make an impression on social media and trying to look great and go, well, how can I do something of importance, of substance? So many people spend so much time trying to make a photo look good for Facebook. You could spend that 15 minutes instead of touching your teeth up and making the colours look bright on your Instagram feed to reading 10 pages of a book. Like, imagine that. What we could do, it's all this stuff that we could just make these small changes in life to help you succeed. Now, if you're feeling frustrated, this is such a big one. If you're feeling frustrated in life, if you're feeling stuck, the question to ask yourself is, have I over time given up my ability to be the creative force and the controller in my life? And this may have been something that happened over years and years. Have you given up the ability for you to have the creative control in your life? Have you given up your power? Do you feel like a passenger in your own life? And this may be a bit of a difficult one to actually get to grips with. Have you allowed for that to happen? And if so, the trick is we've just got to make this come back. Over time, we've got to bring it back so that you're the driver again. I've got to help you to move forward. You've got to turn what you want into what you need. You've got to raise the priority of your goals. Set some goals and make them the priority. Don't let them be passive anymore. And a big thing, if you feel like your soul is dying, if you feel like your soul's already dead, there's a way we can rescue it. And that is to put your soul first. That's to make yourself a priority. Make the things that you love a priority. And bring them to life. And yes, it may take time. And yes, it may feel a bit weird at first. And yes, it may be hard to get into the habit of doing what you want. But we can learn a lot from children. And children do exactly what they want. And if you do exactly what you want, or at least build towards it over time, success will come from that. And with that, happiness and everything that you want from love and abundance and relationships and money. Money may not even be important. For most people, we feel like we want more money because we think that will be the destination to happiness. But usually, what we actually is important to us is within four walls. You say, the home is where the heart is, and that's absolutely true. Most of the time, we should be looking within our four walls and go, how do I make this the best that it can be? Sometimes that might mean you have to leave your four walls because that might be the negative space for you. But again, that is change. Leaving might be the change that you need. Changing your situation might be the change that you need. Changing relationships, removing negative people from your life. It comes down, to your comfort zone. Now, everyone has a comfort zone. Everyone's got a comfort zone. Some might feel totally inadequate speaking in a normal social situation. In a bar, around a table, whatever it be. Some people that might be too much for them. Some people won't be able to call a takeaway. Won't get on the phone and call somebody. Some people absolutely love public speaking, love being on stage, all that kind of stuff. Other people want to die more than do that. Some people eat the same way every single day for years and years, knowing that it's killing them. Because either they can't be bothered to learn, or it seems too hard to learn how to properly nourish themselves. All of these things, and everyone has a comfort zone, and you're going to have yours. And what we've got to do is try and test it, because as Neil Donald Walsh says, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Life does begin, and certainly growth. And if it is about pushing yourself and driving yourself to happiness, it does begin at the end of your comfort zone. And the things that are usually the hardest, that you get this feeling here of discomfort when you think about doing it, that's usually the stuff that's the most valuable to your life, and the stuff that we actually need to do the most. And if you imagine on your life on a scale and being like, this is where I am now, and these are the things in my dreams, and how far away they seem from me. Each of these steps away is how much of a person you need to grow. So if you're earning whatever, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 and you want to earn $200,000, there's a lot of steps. And in order to earn that money, you've got to grow sufficiently to add sufficient value to the world, to put enough energy back in. So the question comes, how much work are you doing to add more energy? How much are you getting out of your comfort zone? How much are you learning? How much are you growing? How much are you willing to fail? How much are you willing to work? How much are you willing to spend on yourself? Are you willing to invest in yourself? Invest in your mind, and your mind will pay you forever. Commonly people are quite willing to go to Bali or buy a massive TV or go out and spend a couple $100 on a night out, but won't attend a conference, won't buy a book and read it, won't buy a training course, won't get a mentor. So important to invest in yourself, and as well as the time in relationships. And the final thing I'm going to cover, guys, is your goals. Goals are the building blocks of life. If you haven't got goals, you haven't got them written down, please do sit down, write your goals, get it all on paper, what you want, spend the time. Spend a couple of hours writing down your goals. Spend a couple of nights writing down your goals. The time that you're going to invest in watching season 8 of Game of Thrones, I'm going to be watching it. But have you spent that much time in the last year thinking about your goals? You're going to be sitting, watching, doing things, but are you spending that much time on your life, which is so important? Sit and write down your goals. Write your goals down. Break them down into sub-goals. All of those sub-goals. Break them into tasks. This is a bit of work. But how do you achieve each of those goals? And break it into, if you have to, 100 little tasks that you have to do. And break it down so that it's easy, bite-sized pieces. And start to work through them. Start to create quick wins. What you want is a to-do list like this of things that you can do to make your life better. Hundreds and hundreds of them if needs be. However many you need. The great thing is it doesn't matter how long it takes you to do them. But as I said before, when you start to tick those off, you'll build momentum. As you tick them off, you're building success. As you tick them off, you're creating that pressure within the pressure cooker. And what comes out at the end when the kettle boils and the steam comes out, that's success. That's the gold. You're putting positive energy into the world. And the more that you do, the quicker you'll get, the better you'll get. The more addicted you'll get to success. And before long, you'll want to be doing this stuff that's better in your life rather than the stuff that's in your comfort zone that has you where you are. Claudia just said that's how long her to-do list. Claudia, you want to see my to-do list? It's like never ending. And the great thing is I've got stuff on there that I might never get to. I just put them down and forget about it. And every day I've got like a bit of paper like this that's got a load of goals on, and I just tick them off one by one. You know, I've got my big rocks that are the most value to me, and everything else that isn't as valuable, it just goes on in another list. And the great thing is you don't need to get to them. Too many people, they major in minor things. Too many people major in minor things, and what you want to do is major in major things. Major in the major things that build your life, not in the minor things that just keep us busy. You know, learn to leave the things that don't really help your life and focus on the things that do. You know, create that muscle of high achievement and of action. Positive action. Grow your confidence. You will grow your confidence by taking positive action, because action solves all problems. It's the creator of champions. But what you got to be is patient. You do have to be patient, because it doesn't happen overnight. It might take you a year, it might take you 2 years, it might take you 3 years. You know, if you've got a home-based business, a small business, for instance, are you willing to put that time in to building it? And think to a job, are you spending the hours that it would take for you to become an expert in an industry on your business? Or are you treating it like a hobby that you don't really take very seriously, because it's never going to pay you if you do? With your health, are you taking your health seriously? You know, if you want a better body, if you want better relationships, if you want anything else, are you giving them the attention that they deserve in order for you to be successful in them? And are you giving them the time? Are you being patient enough to allow that to all happen? Because it doesn't happen overnight. You know, and there's a couple of quotes I'm going to finish on, then I'm done, guys. One is, success is becoming the master of the mundane. Success is becoming the master of the mundane. You know, champions are made behind closed doors, and the reason that people are so good at what they do is because they practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced. You know, when I played for England, the amount of times that we spent doing things that were mind-numbing, shuffling from side to side, sprinting forward 2 meters, then trailing back, I did that thousands and thousands of times. But in a game, how quick could I move from left to right or a couple of meters? Massively. And it's those small things where success are made, and the things in your life that you want will come from being repeatedly doing the things that are boring. That's life, and we've just got to be okay with that. You know, and when you become the master of the mundane, that's where success lives. And, you know, all people will attest to that who are successful. Yeah, most of the time I do stuff that I don't really like, because a good portion of the time I'm doing stuff that I really love. But unfortunately, everyone has stuff they've got to do day to day. That's just life. You know, the difference between success and failure is quite often simply not quitting. That's a Walt Disney quote. The difference between success and failure quite often is simply not quitting. And you've never failed unless you don't quit. The only time you fail is when you stop. You know, massive to know that. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. As long as you're still moving, you're still growing, you're still achieving. Because like I say, success is a journey. It isn't a destination. And finally, last thing I'm going to say, success is not so much about what you're doing, but more who you're being. Success is not so much about what you're doing, but more who you're being. You know, and this is massive. If you are being the person who adds that value, if you're being the kind of person who would be worth the kind of money that you want to earn, if you're being the kind of person who deserves and would belong to a body that you want, if you're being the kind of person who would have a good relationship, have a wife or a husband that respects him, have children that love him, if you're being that kind of person, and you know whether you are or you're not, if you look inside and be honest, if you're being that kind of person, then the success will come. The only difference is time. You know, the key thing is to make that decision here, now, today, at any given point, say, this is who I am now, and I am the kind of person who has a good body, earns better money, has good relationships, is loved by people, stops falling out with people, whatever it be. Just be that person. You can do that any time. Sometimes you may forget, sometimes you may slip into old habits. That's absolutely fine, because the next day you can be that person again. Okay, so guys, if you've liked this, please do flick me a thing, say hello, comment below, let me know you've been on, you know, maybe say thanks. If you watched on the replay, do hit the say replay, just post in replay, let me know you've watched. If someone needs to see this, tag them in, give us a comment, flick me some likes, tap the screen, hit the share button, share me to your wall, help me get out and see more people. But that's it for me today, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now.